we're going to start, Jake, with the away games for 2024. Of course, the
Mhm.
dates and the times and kickoffs and all that has not been released. That's going to be released at a later date, obviously. But looking at the away games, Jake, you go to LSU, you go to Oklahoma, you go to Tennessee, and you go to Vanderbilt. One of those is not like the other.
Right. Yeah. Bless Vandy's heart, but Alabama will probably have more fans there. Well, will definitely have more fans there in that game. I mean, if they have 50,000, 49,000 of it's going to be Alabama fans in that game. It's just a cold hard truth. But man, that's a tough road schedule. Going to Tennessee, which we saw what happened this past year at Tennessee. The Oklahoma, we talked about it. They're kind of like a roller coaster. We'll see how they do this year, but it's still always a tough place to play. And then LSU is probably one of the toughest places in the country to play.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that game's going to be a night game because it always is. It seems like.
Always not
Yeah.
game in Death Valley. Yeah, and just I want to kind of make a quick point. People were complaining about Saban kind of moving away from a nine game schedule, but because of what the permanent opponents would be for Alabama. But and this is a prime example of why you might have to do some changes to the permanent opponents if you go to a nine-game schedule. So you see who Alabama has as their away games. If they go to a nine-game schedule, you're looking at possibly playing a road game at, you could get Texas, you could get Florida
Hmm.
when they're up, you could get at A&M. So, and you're talking about those road games being just, I mean, that's ridiculous. So
Hmm.
it's a slippery slope when you're looking at a nine-game schedule. I'll be honest with you. I, we've talked about how we want a nine-game schedule, but the way this schedule looks right now, the 8 game could work. The 8 game
Yeah.
schedule could work. I like the way it looks. Um, obviously, I think my next question to you, Jake, is well, let's run down the home games real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about what we like about the schedule, what we don't like about the schedule, maybe who should have been on the schedule, who shouldn't have been. But at the home games, Jake, of course, you have Auburn, Georgia, Missouri, and South Carolina. Keeping the in-state rivalry with Auburn, that I think that's important for not just the fans in Alabama, but for college football. Really, that's a national game. I mean, that's going to draw a big audience each and every season, regardless of how the teams are playing at any given moment. That's going to draw some viewership. I mean, Birmingham will be moving, but then you get to host Georgia, Jake, for the second
Hmm.
time in the last 4 years. When the game gets here, they hosted them back in 2020 in the COVID year. Got the best of them there in Tuscaloosa on the way to a perfect season and a national championship. But Georgia's not on the schedule for Alabama in 2023. It either have to be in the SEC championship game or the playoff in order to face the Bulldogs. So now in 2024, you get to play Kirby Smart in Georgia. We know with a possible chance of getting revenge from that national championship loss in 2021. So pretty fun to see Georgia there on the schedule. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not at Georgia,
Yeah.
but I thought maybe we would host Oklahoma and play at Georgia. But two teams like Alabama and Georgia, uh, I like playing them, especially with Kirby there. I just think it's fun. I mean, look, uh, Georgia's won back-to-back national championships. It appears they're on their way to being, the next great dynasty in college football. But let's remember, Georgia's 1-7 against Alabama in their last 8 matchups. So let's not just hand them the mantle yet. I think there's still some stuff that needs to be proven, and that could happen next year in Bryant Denny Stadium. But I like their home games. Of course, really the toughest one is Georgia. And then you have,
Hmm.
obviously South Carolina's a decent team. Missouri's decent. Auburn's probably going to be improved next year under Hugh Freeze, but you really have a favorable home schedule. Georgia really being the only team that's probably going to, have the chance to upset you there in Bryant Denny Stadium.
Yeah, I agree. And you talk about, we have talked about competitive balance across the board. Alabama, I'm fine with how the schedule rolls out this year or this next year for the competitive balance because, like you said, you go to Vandy, You do have to go to Oklahoma and to LSU, but the other away game there, I mean, Tennessee as well. It's kind of tough, but your home schedule, like you said, Georgia being the biggest one, Missouri, and South Carolina is improving. So they might be a challenge, but I really don't think Alabama, they're up to Alabama's standard just yet.